lines of code, it doesn't really matter, because the code that is going to get executed is the code that is available in the main method. Only the code that is available in the main method or the given in the main method will get executed, right? So this is the main method, and this is a concrete method. You can say that a user defined method. This is just an user defined method. If you make little observation, whatever the statements that I am including in the main method is going to get executed. We know that already. For example, let me say that I am including a statement like system.out.println testing. I'm just writing a small piece of println statement, and I want to print something. So here I am going to take testing. So this is the piece of code that I have included in the main method, right? So my output is going to be what? My output is going to be testing, because the first instruction in the main method is, this is the first instruction, and my output is going to be testing, because we already discussed that only the instructions that are drafted in the main method will get executed. So in my main method only one instruction is given, so my output is going to be, obviously, if I check my console, it is going to be testing. So this is something we know this already, right? But in this, now my requirement is I want to execute a user defined method. So in this example, I am considering this is my method, this is my user defined method. I want to execute this method. So if I want to execute this method, I need to transfer the control. I need to transfer the control from here to here. So I need to transfer the control. The control is now pointing towards this system.out.println statement. So I need to transfer this control from here to here. How am I supposed to do that? The question is, how am I supposed to do that? In order to do that, since this is an what we call it as this is going to be an independent method, we call it as user defined method. Let me write that here for better understanding. So we call this method as the user defined method. Right. User defined method. So if this is the user defined method, and this method is going to be the predefined method or main method. Predefined method or main method. Why predefined method? Because Java people, the people who have developed Java, they have written syntax for this method. So the main method is supposed to exactly look like this. This is how the Java virtual machine is going to recognize the main method. The prototype of the main method is public static void main. Since it is developed by the Java developers, Java programmers, this is how this syntax should look like. So this is something, this method is being developed by me as a developer. I have developed this method, and I can call this method as user defined method. So we have one main method and we have one user defined method. So we already know that the instructions in the main method will be executed one by one. Already we have executed one instruction, which is testing. So now my requirement is I want to transfer this control. So I want to transfer this control to the user defined method. I want to call this method. I want to execute this method. How can I proceed? So in order to execute this method, just use the method name, right? What do you mean by method name? So the name that we are declaring before this parenthesis. So here we have declared the name as add. So the add is going to be the method name, right? So just I am going to write the method name, right? So this method is accepting two data types, and again we have discussed this before. Is accepting one integer data type and another integer data type. Integer data type in the sense we can represent the integer data types in the form of numerical values, right? So if I pass, you observe here, to make little observation, if I am passing 100 comma 50, then JVM will recognize. What JVM will recognize? That the developer is trying to call a method with the name add is the method that the developer is trying to call, and is passing two parameters, which is 100 comma 50. 100 and 50, they both represent integer data types. It will check for the similar method in the Java programming language. In this case, this method, the method that we are calling, is matching this method, right? So the control will be transferred to the next time JVM is going to JVM will be about to execute this instruction. While executing this instruction, it will find it is a method call. So that control will be transferred from here to where? To the method that we have defined, right? And again, from here it will start executing all the instructions that is available in this method. So here we have, fortunately, we have only one instruction, isn't it? This is the first instruction. This is the only one instruction we have, right? So it will execute this instruction. So the instruction says a plus b, right? So a is going to be the first value that we are passing. Here the first value is 100. In this case, what will happen? This 100 will be placed here, and this 50 will be placed. Will be assigned to b. Instead of placing, I can use the word assigned. 100 will be assigned to a, and the 50 is going to be assigned to b. Right? These arguments will be passed inside, and 100 plus 50 is going to be 150. Right? And if you check the output, first output, the first line in the console is going to be testing, and the second line in the console is going to be what? 150. Right? So after executing this method, the control will again go back, come back to the place where it was actually called. Right? So it was called, the control is transmitted from here to here. All the execution in this method got, all the instructions in this method got executed, and again the control will be coming back to the place where it was previously called. So this was the place it was called, and again there are no instructions left to be executed. So the program will get terminated. So if you check the output is going to be testing 150. Okay, sir, these things are making little sense, but what relation does these things have with this parameter passing mechanism? That is the question that we are about to discuss. We are discussing the same question. If you observe one thing here, if you make one observation, you need to understand the two terminologies. So first one is the caller method, or I can say the calling method. So calling method is a method which is calling another method, right? In this case, the main method is going to act like a calling method, because within the main method we are calling another method. This is another method that we are calling within the main method. Try to understand, try to pay some attention. We are trying to call another method. From one method we are trying to call another method, right? So which method is being used here to make a method call? So this is the method. Main method is the method that is being used to call another method. So in this case, the main method is going to be the calling method, right? If the main method is a calling method, the method that is being called is called as called method. In Java terminology, we can call this method as what? Called method. Since this method is this is the method that is calling another method, the method that is going to call is called as calling method. I hope the words may be confusing, so this is the calling method, and the method that is being called is the called method, right? I hope you are able to understand the difference between, you are able to figure out the difference between called method and calling method and the called method, right? So these terminologies are necessary to proceed further. And again, if you see here, we are passing something inside to call a particular method. We are passing two values, isn't it? One is 100 and the second one is 50. These are the values that we are passing, right? So this kind of parameter passing mechanism is called as call by value parameter passing mechanism. So this demonstration or this illustration simply describes or simply says that we have used a mechanism to call a particular method, and that mechanism is called as what? Call by value parameter passing mechanism. What is it? Call by value parameter passing mechanism. In not only in Java, this call by value parameter passing mechanism is applicable to all the programming languages. It is not limited to Java, but there is a little difference in Java. So we are trying to understand that. We are going to understand what is the little difference. So this mechanism is called call by value passing mechanism, parameter passing mechanism in programming languages. Let me take another example. This example will make more sense. So let me take another main method. Right, this time we will perform a subtraction operation. Public static void. What method is this? This is a predefined method. So the syntax of the predefined method should be fixed always. You cannot change this. In any anywhere, even whatever the application that you are going to develop in the future, when you look at the main method, this is how the main method should look like. This should not get any changes, right? This is fixed, right? And again, all the execution will start from the main method. No matter how many lines of codes you are drafting, only the pieces of code that is existed in the main method will get executed. So with the help of main method, we will transfer the controls. That's it. You will just transfer the control. Control will be transmitted from one method to another method with the help of main method, right? So in this case, now I am taking two variables. One is integer a equal to 100. Second case, integer b equal to 50. Two simple variables. So one is holding a value 100. Second is holding a value 50. Why integer? Why integer here? Because this data type is going to hold numbers. We will see this data about the concept of data types, the future topics. I think the little understanding is required why we need to use it, because we are making sure that Java programming language is going to save these numerical values in a specific data type, which is int. By specifying int, it means Java is understood that we are going to save a numerical value, right? So I have taken two numerical values. One is integer a, second is integer b. And again, after this, I am calling a method. Method name is subtraction. Let me take a method name as sub a comma b. So this is a method that I am going to use. This is a main method, right? So I am going to design a user defined method in the name of, and I'm going to keep the name of the user defined method as sub. Let me design that as well. Public static void sub. So it is going to take integer a comma integer b. So here I am going to perform an operation where it is going to give the difference of two numbers. This is a simple method that I am creating. The method, whenever you are calling this method is going to send an output of difference of two numbers, a minus b, right? So now I need your attention here. We already know after performing a compilation and after during the execution, there will be a main thread that gets created, right? So main thread will always try to get access to the main method. We know this already. As a beginner, this is how we have to think every time we are writing a Java code. So main thread will get access to the main method. So this is the main method. All the instructions in the main method will get executed according to the sequential direction, right? First instruction is what? Integer a equal to 100, right? What happens in the integer a equal to 100? This thread is noticing that we are trying to save a value 100 to a particular variable. Name of the variable is a, right? In the memory location, what happens exactly is, so a memory gets allocated. Inside this, there will be a value 100. And 100 will be, one moment. 100 will be stored in a variable a. Right? So now the control moves to the second instruction. Second instruction says integer b equal to 15, and again the memory will get allocated for the second variable, which is the value is going to be 50. Right? And this time it is going to, which one is going to hold this value? The variable b. B is a variable that is going to hold this value. Right? After this, what we are doing, the main thread encounters an instruction. It is encountering a method. Over here, main method recognizes that we are trying to call another method, right? So it is a method call. This instruction is nothing but it's a method call. Means the control will be transferred from here, will go from here to, the control will go to this. Because if you look at the parameters, then the name of the method is sub. Name of the method matches. Name of the method matches. And if you look at the arguments, first argument is integer type, second argument is also integer type. Over here, the first argument is also integer, second argument is also integer. So it is completely unique. It is identifiable, right? For example, in your college, right, in your classroom, there are many chances that the names are not going to be unique. Names can be duplicated because same name can be baptized to many persons. For example, if you let us take Ganesh, there can be another person by the same name, right? And again, how to make sure that a unique identity is generated for Ganesh by using the roll number. Firstly, they will check the initial. If the initial is also matching, then they will go with the roll number. That is how we call. We are able to identify the unique Ganesh. Likewise, in Java, not only the method, the arguments that we are passing also helps us to identify the unique method. In this case, sub is the method and we are passing two arguments. So the two arguments are of integer type. Right? So there is only one method, so match is exactly the same as the arguments that we are passing here. So this is the method. Right? Now the control has been transferred from here to here. Now all the instructions in this method will get executed. Right? Before that, you need to observe one thing. Right? So here we are passing two values, a comma b. So we know that a is what? A is 100, comma b is 50. We are passing a comma b, which is 100 comma 50. 100 comma 50. This is very important. Pay some attention. 100 comma 50. These are the two values that we are passing. So these values will be assigned to these variables. So the variables that are actually in the subparameters in this parameter, right? So the values are getting assigned to these variables. So how the assignation will happen is the question. And what happens, a copy will be created. 100 is there, right? A copy of 100 will be created. A copy of 100 will be created and a copy of 50 will be created. Copy of 100 and a copy of 50 will be created, and this copy will be assigned to these variables. In this case, again the variables are what? This one is A, this one is B. So if you see, this A and B are belong to sub method. This A and B are belong to sub method. Right? Sub method. And these A and B are belong to which method? Main method. This observation is required. Right? So what we have done till now, as soon as the control is getting transferred from here to the sub method, the values that we are passing here will not be assigned directly to these variables. Right? Instead, a copy of the value will be created, and this copy will be assigned to the variables that we have declared in the sub method arguments. Hope you understand. Right? So, and again here we have to understand. So we have understood till now. Now let's the instructions in this method needs to get executed, isn't it? These instructions need to get executed. The first instruction is what? We are simply asking the, we have declared a statement and we are asking to perform A minus B. So A is what? 100, B is what? 50. So output is going to be what? 50, right? It is strictly 50 because we are performing strict subtraction. Output is going to be 50. And again, as soon as this method call is over, the control will come back to the place where it was previously called, where the control was transferred, from where the control was transferred. From here the control was transferred. So again, it will look for any other instructions that are left to be executed. Since there are no other instructions, the main thread will get terminated. There are no instructions, so nothing is left to be executed. Okay. So now you tell me. Now you have to tell me what is this is called what method? This method is called, which one is called caller method and which one is called method and which one is calling method? Which one is called method and which one is calling? We can type it in the chat box. I mean, if the main method is calling method or first answer this, whether the main method is calling method or called method. No. Main method is calling method. Yes, Samyuta, you are correct. Main method is calling method because this is the method that is calling, right? Calling another method, right? That's a main method is calling method, and the sub method is called method. No worries. So here and again we need to understand one more terminology, which is the parameters. The parameters that we are passing here in the sensor, in the main method, in this exactly over here. Exactly over here, these parameters are called as actual arguments. actual arguments. Just keep it in mind. It is going to be very easy. Actual arguments and the parameters that is getting applied here or that is getting added here. So these are called as what? Formal arguments. Formal arguments. If you give little observation here, this is called as what? Call by value parameter passing mechanism in programming language. Not only in Java, this is going to be same for all other programming languages. Here what we are doing, we are trying to call another method and we are passing some parameters. Parameter in the sense, in this case, we have passed two integer values, right? And these values, whenever we are trying to pass any value, the value is getting copied first, right? The same value is going to get copied first, then it is getting assigned to the formal arguments, right? A copy of value is created first, then this copy of value is going to get assigned to the formal arguments. Hope you're able, this is making sense, right? So this process is called what? Call by value parameter passing mechanism in programming languages. It is same for Java as well as for C and C++. So call by value passing parameter passing mechanism is nothing but, now I will give you the complete explanation. Now this explanation is going to make sense. In any programming languages, we pass primitive data types as parameters in the methods. It's called as call by value parameter passing. So you can expect this question: what is called as call by value passing parameter passing mechanism? So this is the simple one-line answer that you can give. What is it? In any programming language, if you pass primitive data types or parameters in the methods, it is called as call by value parameter passing mechanism. And again, since we have been discussed about primitive data types, so primitive data types are of 8 types. So we will discuss this in future, no worries. It is going to be what? Byte, short, int, long, float, double, character, boolean. So boolean b has to be small. So these are the primitive data types. There are of 8 types. Okay. Whenever any of these data types are passed as a parameter in a particular method, by default they will be called as call by value parameter passing mechanism. Whether int or whether long or float, whatever it is, if this is a primitive data type and if the primitive data type is passed as a parameter in, to call any method, then we call that mechanism as what? Call by value parameter passing mechanism, right? So this is allowed in all programming languages, not only in C, not only in C++. It is applicable to all computer programming languages. However, Java does not allow call by reference parameter passing mechanism, right? That is what we are going to discuss. See what it says. C and C++ follow both call by value and call by reference parameter passing mechanism, but Java follows only call by value parameter passing mechanism. We need to understand that why call by reference is not possible in Java. Before even understanding that, we must understand what is call by reference. So let me give you a small example. Not the example, I'm going to give you a simple theory. Java does not support call by reference because first you'll understand what is call by reference. Call by reference, we actually need to pass the addresses. And addresses are stored in the form of pointers. However, pointers are not allowed in Java as it breaks the security. Hence, Java does not support call by. We have already discussed about pointers concept. We know the pointers concept, right? What does a pointer concept says? You can store the address of a particular variable in a pointer variable. So pointer concepts are something that is applicable only in C and C++ programming languages. We have already discussed about the pointers in C and C++. They have pointers concept. Pointers are nothing but it is going to stores address reference of a variable. So if you want to convert this program to understand the pointers concept, in this case we are directly passing the values. The A and E, A and B are the actual values, right? But if you take the example of C or C++ programming languages, instead of passing A equal to 100, in C and C++, they have an option to pass the address of A. The address of A could be 10101, something like this. This address could be passed as an argument. Right? In C and C++, that is completely possible because C and C++ they support pointers. But Java doesn't support pointers. There is no concept of address references in Java. Right? That is the reason why Java does not support call by references. I hope this answer is making sense, but don't worry, I will give you much elaborate answer. Let me give you another example for this. Let me say that so let me take a small book. This is a real-time analogy. So this is a book and I have a student 1. Right? Student 1 has taken notes for Java. So since we are learning Java, we will take Java as an example. Student 1 has started preparing for Java and has taken a lot of notes on Java. Right? So there is another student. He is about to give exams on Java tomorrow. Right? So he wants to prepare something from Java. So he is asking student 1 to give the book so that he can study and he can write the exam and he will return it back. Right? What student 1 is doing, student 1 will not give the book directly. Instead, student 1 will take a Xerox copy of this book. Will take a Xerox copy of this book and the Xerox copy or photocopy of the book will be given to the student 2. Right? So student 2 can study from the Xerox copy because there are high chances that the students are going to use a lot of markers, a lot of highlighters to mark the important points. So if this is the case, it will not affect the actual book. So all the things that are getting updated, all the important points will be updated in the Xerox copy or photocopy. Isn't it? So this concept is one of the real-time analogy that we can apply to understand this call by value. Call by value does the same thing. What it does, the arguments, the values that you are holding, when you are passing this value, you do not pass the actual value, you just pass the copy of those values. Create a copy of those values and attach it to the formal arguments, right? So that the actual value is going to remain same forever. These are the actual values that will not get affected. It is going to remain same, right? So these are the copied values. These are the photoshopped values. So in Java programming language, this is how it could be understood. The actual arguments are the original arguments. These are the actual arguments. These are the original arguments, original values. Formal arguments are nothing but the photocopy of the actual values. In the memory point of view, if you take the memory, actual value is going to remain same and the photocopy of the value will be passed here, right? And the changes will happen by considering these photocopy values, not the actual value. And in future, if these values are destroyed, it will not going to have an impact on the actual values. This is nothing but call by value in both Java and C and C++ and Java programming language, right? And again, if you talk about call by values, we pass primitive data types as parameters. So primitive data types means what? These are the primitive data types. If you pass any one of these data types, or if you pass the combination of these data types as an arguments in any method, then it is always going to be what? Call by value. As simple as that. Again, why Java does not support call by reference? Call by reference is a concept that is supported by the programming languages that actually supports pointers. But Java does not support pointers. There is no concept of address references, right? Because it is going to break there are chances that the security will be broken. That's why Java is not allowing call by references. So far we have discussed about call by value. Okay, this is a real-time analogy. Okay. So what's the takeaway? What's the takeaway today? We have understood how what is the calling method and what does it mean to be a called method, right? What are the actual arguments? What are the formal arguments? How the memory allocation happens when one method is calling another method inside the same method, how the memory is getting allocated, right? Call by value means a copy of arguments will be created and the changes will happen in the copy of arguments, not with the original arguments, right? So I have faced this question when I was giving my interview. So this question is same. No matter what, if they want you to test where you actually stand on Java, right? They will not test you on the complex logic or complicated logics. They don't actually ask you to write a complex code. They are able to track your ability, or what we call it as a caliber. They can catch your caliber or track your caliber only with this type of question. This is the question that I have faced in one of my interviews. Right? So what should be the answer? You must understand what is call by value. What is call by value? This is the simple example. This is simple. If we pass primitive data types or parameters method is called call by value passing mechanism. So these are the primitive data types. Why Java doesn't allow this? This is why Java doesn't allow. It is a matter of 5 lines, but understanding should be, you have to deep dive to understand what exactly it means. So this is why I have given this much of illustration, right?